Alright guys, here we have the ambient weather 2902 weather station. This is the B model. I don't think it really makes a difference, but basically what we're going to do today is we're going to calibrate our barometric pressure for our altitude. This is very important if you guys are sending your data to CWAP. You don't want to get a bunch of kickback errors. I'll do another video on what CWAP is later. But how we do, it's a really simple process. There's a lot of good instructions online, but I figured, hey, somebody needs to make a Facebook video about this because I feel like the ambient weather network is growing and a lot of you guys are really wanting to contribute your data to the National Weather Service and NOAA. So first thing you want to do is we want to get our altitude. And actually before that, first thing we want to do is we want to get this to say hectopascals. If you know how to do it, great. If you don't know how to do it, press and hold set. And then if you see beep, you're good. I don't have the beep cut on mine because it's really annoying. And then basically when you see HPA flashing or inches of mercury flashing, just cycle through the plus or minus keys until you get to hectopascals. You may be asking, why the heck do I want to do it in hectopascals? I don't use that. Well, we're just going to use this for the calibration aspect because it's more accurate. So now that we have that, we want to go ahead and get our elevation. Use the link in below. The first link in below, it'll be step 1, step 2, step 3 for the links that I'm going to put in there, is get the elevation. You can use this software, or this website rather, if you know the altitude of your console off sea level, great. Convert that to meters. If you don't know, or you want to get a more quote-unquote accurate answer, go ahead and go to the website, find your house on the map, click on that. It'll show you your ground elevation for wherever your yard is, or whatever the foundation of your house is, and then figure out where your console's at in your house relative to the ground. Meaning, is your console at the top of your 3rd story house, or do you have it sitting on the floor on the 1st floor of your house? You want to add all that up. So, for example, this thing's sitting on a 3-foot bookshelf. The outside is 77 feet. So, bam, 80 feet is where my console's at. So that's 80 feet, convert that to meters. So take whatever your elevation is above sea level of your console. By the way, it's your console, not your array. The barometric pressure is housed inside here, not outside. A lot of people get that confused, and so when they put them on a 100-foot pole, they're getting these big numbers, and that's not the accurate. So, after you've gotten your height in meters, use the step 2 in the link in the description below, and that is where we're going to get our correction factor. You're going to keep 1013 point whatever it is in the first block. Your second block will be your height in meters, and then temperature, leave it alone. Leave it at standard, doesn't really matter. Once you click execute, it will prompt you with what your absolute pressure is at your house, or your atmospheric pressure is corrected for altitude. Take that number, subtract that from standard, and that will give you your correction factor. You should get a small number. I mean, I don't think it's going to be more than 10 wherever you live. And you need to do this also if you're 10 feet above sea level, or if you're 1,000 feet, 10,000 feet above sea level. So now that you have that correction factor, we need to then go back to our weather station. So in your weather station, what we need to get is we need to get our absolute pressure and our relative pressure. So to get your absolute, press and hold pressure. It switches to absolute. 1013.0, that's the number we need to know. Or whatever yours says in absolute. Then go back to relative. Once we have that, what we want to do is we want to now change our relative pressure to show our correction factor more than what absolute is showing. Meaning, we want to show our take this number plus. You're always going to plus here, guys, because unless you live below sea level, I'm pretty sure you're always going to add. And I don't know of many of these in Death Valley or many people that live in Death Valley. So you want to add that in our relative. So I know that hey, that's a crazy number change, man. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. And you'll see why in a little bit. So now that to do that, you just press and hold set. Yep, all that good stuff. Look, y'all are probably going to turn off your beep too, to be honest. All right, so now that we just have the number highlighted, use the plus or minus arrows under wind and pressure to set that number. And then once you've set that number, again, your correction factor plus whatever absolute is, or absolute plus your correction factor, set it in here in your relative, hit snooze. Guess what? You're never going to touch that again unless you move. Or you put your station somewhere else and you say you want to do this again. We're done with that. All right, so now it's getting to be, we're almost done. It's actually almost done. So the next thing we want to do is now we need to look at our local METAR. There's a couple ways you can do this. Aviationweather.gov, you can go to type in your nearest airport identifier. It's real easy to look up. You can kind of Google it, or you can just call them up and ask, hey, what's your identifier? For me, one of my big local airports is going to be MCO, or Orlando International Airport. You just go to aviationweather.gov, look for the METAR reports, type in your letter identifier, and then there's a thunderstorm actually rolling in right now, so that's probably why you're seeing everything go crazy. I don't have the lightning detector, obviously, but anyway. So get the METAR data. So for me, it's going to be whatever it is, and I'm not going to look it up. I'm just going to tell you that take your METAR data and subtract your correction factor. That's counterintuitive than what we've been doing, but you want to take your local METAR data, subtract your correction factor out of it, and then now where we want to put that, keep that number in your head, because now you're going to come in here, and this is where we do our offset. So press and hold the temp max min until we get to the calibration screen. And then from here, again, using the plus or minus arrow keys, set that number. I know it doesn't matter what it is. I had to change this by like a lot when I did it. It is what it is. You want to set that. So METAR minus your correction factor, because it's all gonna come together when you set that. Once you have that set, you now have a properly calibrated ambient weather barometric pressure sensor. That's real important to have when you're transmitting to CWAP. A lot of guys that don't do that find out that their data is jacked up and that they're getting these like crazy error reports. You're gonna do this one time and you're gonna be done with it. You can fine tune it after, like let it ride out for a week. Once you get on CWAP, once you have a fully set up account, your data is actually gonna be sent through a Gladstone. It's called Gladstone Weather or something. I think you can Google it. And basically what they're going to do is they're quality checking your weather. They're quality checking the data that you're sending. They're going to quality check your temperatures, your barometric pressure, your dew points, and your wind. Caution right now, as of, August 4th of 2020, the wind quality checking is wrong for everybody. So don't be surprised if you get a little thing that says, hey, this is failing the check. Yeah, there's a little conflict going on between everybody on the quality checking side of that. So don't really worry about that. Worry about getting your barometric pressure set right and your temperature set right. Temperature, don't touch it unless you see like a huge error, and then you can correct it from there. So hopefully this video was helpful for y'all. I'm really glad to see that ambient weather. I'm starting to see more sensors pop up on the website. If you don't know what website I'm talking about, it's going to be ambient CWAP, CWOP.com, link in the description below. And basically you sign up for there, sign up on the CWAP website, get yourself an ID number, and get your data out to the National Weather Service. I'm going to do a full video on that probably right after this one, and just talk more about it. But hopefully this was helpful to you. If you need more help or find maybe that I missed a step in here, go ahead and get on the Ambient Weather CWAP group on Facebook. It's Ambient CWAP group or something like that. And there's a lot of good guys on there that'll help you out along the way. So, yep, y'all have a good one.